Hello, it's Philip Taylor speaking from Richmond Green Chambers in London. Today it's my pleasure to review a book which has come to us from Spiramus Press. They're excellent when it comes to dealing with specific areas of law, linked certainly to finance and to employment. This one, and Europe of course as well, this one is European Employment Law, a comparative guide, now in a third edition. It comes to us from Stephen Hardy and Mark Butler. It's in a paperback, and we've given it an interesting title for our review. It explains the controversial cross-border comparative employment laws, now in a new third edition from Spiramus, and that's exactly what you're getting here. This is the book itself. You can see there's the front, then there's the spine, then there's the back of the book. There's some detail about Spiramus which is contained there. The Spiramus books themselves are very good. The index at the back is never a particularly big index, as you can probably see, but they have their own house style, and I have found the books very easy to read. There's the front page, and then there is a foreword to the first edition by Eleanor Sharpson, Queen's Counsel, which you've got mentioned there. Then what we've got here, that's the actual end of that particular foreword. Then you've got after that a preface to the very first edition, which came out, and then there's some comments dated the 1st of March 2016. This book's brand new. I've only just got it and reviewed it in the last week. Then you've got a structure there of employment, European employment laws, and a comparative guide with other countries. So you've got Austria, Belgium, all the main countries are listed. You can see how they go through country guide by country. It's a chapter number. You've got the pages numbers at the side, and then a paragraph numbering as well. Then you run through all the main countries concerned. Bosnia and Herzegovina are the ones running, and then a key source is right at the back. And then what you've got is a very small amount of case law and posting workers in the EU. And from there you can go on and see there's an introduction which sets out what is happening at the moment with the European Union. It's interesting, I'm reviewing this book during the during the referendum campaign, and obviously this issue is, even as I speak today, cropping up quite regularly because of the effect that could actually occur should we leave the European Union. Now, the introduction is quite a long one. Then we go into the laws themselves, and then after that we go specifically into the countries. So that's the book itself. Now, what do we say about the book? It's gone to the journals on the web, and our view about this book is, apart from the successful marketing of products or services or both, to an identifiable customer base, one of the most pressing concerns for businesses large or small is the matter of employment, particularly where cross-border employment issues are concerned, and they frankly are much more important and prevalent than they had been in the past. Now, I'm not going to make any other comments than that, but clearly that is something that one, depending on one's views about the European Union, one has to bear in mind. So for those who run businesses and those who advise them, this book is a useful find, presenting as it does the basics of employment law across all 28 current EU member states, plus the 3 other candidate states. Now, I do think that's important. I'm a member of the Remain campaign, and I'm quite clear in my mind that we will stay in the European Union, whatever the Brexit people say. But this book, it doesn't really make much difference, because at least this is a statement at the moment of where we are, and any changes, if we do leave, any changes will take a long time to implement. And of course there'll be a flurry of titles all across the whole of our legal system if that transpires in June. We will see. This book anyway is published by Spiramus. The book's now going into a third edition, which certainly attests to its popularity. And Spiramus, by the way, positions itself as a specialist publisher of practical and professional publications on topics relating to running a business, including accountancy, finance and the law. And this book, very competently in our view, deals with the latter, and in this case European employment law, within all EU jurisdictions. The book's divided into two parts. The first is a lengthy introduction and an interesting read in itself, about 28 odd pages, but it certainly I think it paints a very useful picture of where we are at the moment. As I said, it presents what you can only call an overview of the social policies and the political and legal models which underpin employment legislation across the European Union. And it does alert the reader to the usual cross-border problem of which law applies where, and for instance, for example, where a UK employer employs a French employee working in Germany or another EU member state. And I have to say that this is an area which, whilst we may leave the European Union, it's still an area where an awful lot of people are involved today. I've met people as clients who have a whole range of different interests because we are a global community. And I do think that, again, is something that people might bear in mind when they come to make their decision in June. Now, part 2 of the book is its core because that's a detailed comparative summary of employment law across all of the EU states, listed alphabetically from Australia to the UK. There are a number of comments are made, of course, expressing concern about the ever-expanding EU, the subsequent or consequent legal challenges. That on the basis that we stay in, of course. With all this in mind, and in view of the very recent publication of the new edition, it's surprising as far as one can see that there's been no mention of the possibility of an imploding of the EU if the Brexiteers have their way and the UK actually votes to leave. But clearly they are working on the basis that we are staying, because as I've indicated, if we're not, and if it goes the other way, because it's very close, these books will be revised accordingly, if I can put it as charitably as that. So therefore, what I'm saying is it would solve, of course, a few problems if we did leave, but creating, of course, a host of other ones. So wait and see is the answer to that. It'll be, obviously, as I say, the subject probably of a much larger book if things do change. In the meantime, however, this book provides a convenient and accessible source of basic knowledge on EU employment law for those who run businesses and the lawyers tasked with advising them, as well as any human resource personnel and others charged with the responsibility of making sound employment law decisions. And as I said, you've got it now in very much certainly the EU concept, but we must remember we have a global community today. The law is as stated, and I've indicated earlier, as at March 2016, and I'm recording it just a month or so after that date. But I think the book itself is a very important book, and one that everybody who's involved in this area should A, be aware of, and B, have. It's not an expensive book either. Spiramus are I think, a very, very reasonably priced titles. There's the front, there's the spine, and then there's the back. Again, you can see what we've got. If I just open it in the middle, I'm looking at Greece. Looking at Greece there, you see. And then we go from Greece. Let's just take one example. Hungary. It starts off, it explains about the country, then it goes into the contracts of employment, and then there's a little bit of history and the position concerning the workers, pay, social security, sick pay, unfair dismissal and so on. So it covers normally all of the sorts of questions that an HR professional will want to know about, and also anyone involved if, for instance, you have a legal issue where you would need to know about European employment laws and you've got some concerns about a particular country. It may well be that you are advising a client. This is the sort of book you want. I'd like to thank Spiramus very much, and to the authors, Stephen Hardy and Mark Butler, very much indeed, for an excellent publication. These books are very, very helpful to us in this particular area that they are specialising in. So thank you very much to all concerned. Bye-bye.